Listen, folks, this is why you need to have trusted sources of media. There was a guy who put out a thing on Monday here locally that the Immigration Customs Enforcement group was running around Kerrville, and that set off basically a panic among people. And then it was kind of, I got to tell you, Bobby Templeton is here too. It's a little bit of a comedy of errors in some ways. People, in the wake of the Uvalde shooting, law enforcement and schools are working closer than ever together to have regional planning efforts. And there happened to be one yesterday at Ingram High School. Now, full disclosure, I help Ingram with lots of communication stuff, and so I was aware of some of this. And, Carolyn, do you need money, Carolyn? Carolyn needs money. Okay. Anyway, and so I was aware of some of this, and I also talked to people in the community, and we had a situation yesterday where parents were flipped out, mildly, and now we have the schools are dealing with the kind of the fallout of this. When we have Brent Ringo from Kerrville Independent School District and Robert Templeton from Ingram. Guys, what's happening today?
Go ahead.
First, good morning. Good to see you.
Yep, here we go. You're on now. Okay.
First, good morning. Good to see you. And yes, there is. I know Dr. Templeton had more of that fallout than we had in KISD. But anytime something happens nationally or even state level, there's a lot of rumors that can float around, and we have great relationships with all our law enforcement partners, both locally, state, and nationally. And so there's nothing that has happened in KISD. And I know Dr. Templeton will talk about his district, but with that, we follow all the laws that are required by us locally, state, and federally. And our first and foremost focus is to educate all students. The great state of Texas does require us to educate all students. And so schools are a safe place, and the rumors that you hear out there are not happening in schools.
Right. And I want to make this clear. I went through yesterday. I did publish a story late yesterday. Well, last night I published a story that, there was no evidence to this, and that the immigration enforcement that was happening nationwide was basically in key border cities. It was happening in Texas, but the main focus of ICE's efforts right now were on criminals that were here illegally and that they had an eye on, and they were grabbing them and putting them out, taking them and deporting them quickly, or sending them to jail in some cases. So. But it escalated quickly, Dr. Templeton, and you kind of around 5 o'clock, you were like, we got to make a statement here.
Right. So yesterday we were contacted by probably 3 or 4 news outlets, both locally and in San Antonio, and the rumor was going around that the ICE agents, law enforcement in general, were going into schools doing, and I'm using air quotes here, raids and picking up students.
Right. And that was not the case.
True.
Not the case, right? I mean, because the kids are dangerous, so we got to pick them up. So
well, we want to do our part. We have protocols that deal with law enforcement, and we do it all the time, and we're very good at it. But this one is not. I would say it's not just a rumor. This is just an out and out lie, because there was absolutely no validity to it. We do our very best to work with law enforcement partners. We do our best to educate kids. We do both very well. But this just got out of hand, and keyboard warriors get there, and
yeah, right.
They in this case just make stuff up.
Yeah, right. And this was particular. Like when I looked at it yesterday, there were hundreds of comments, and hundreds of shares of this, and so it was getting out there. So the key message here, though, is that nothing has happened. We're business as usual in both districts right now. And I think Centerpoint, I heard this morning from a source there that they had a staff meeting and they assured everybody that nothing was happening and that everyone was in good shape.
Yeah, it was a very normal, uneventful, I would say just a vanilla day, at least for us. It was a great day, actually.
Right. And for you, Dr. Ringo?
Yes, great day this week. Yesterday, there's been no issues, concerns. We're business as usual, and really focusing on what we do, welcoming our students in our schools and having a great learning environment, supporting all of our students.
Now, this there was an event yesterday, as I was kind of alluding to at the beginning of the show, that it was a regional kind of public safety meeting, right, of multiple law enforcement agencies. Could have happened at any of the schools here in Kerr County. It just so happened to happen in Ingram Tom Moore. So people looked at that, oh my God, what's going on over there with all those police officers? And
So here's what happens. Every quarter, Sheriff Letha is required to have a school safety meeting where he invites local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and schools. And everybody just gets together and brainstorms and goes through various scenarios, just working through anything that could possibly happen in order to keep schools and kids and teachers safe.
Yeah. Does that move around to other schools?
It does. Last time it was at Centerpoint ISD. Yesterday it was at our house, and I think Brent might be asked to host it next time. So it travels around, and maybe that's where kind of the rumor got going, because there was probably 15 police vehicles outside, which looks a little odd.
Right.
But all of those guys checked into the office. They're happy. It's just it's a good collegial atmosphere. And to me, it's a pretty thick jump to go from, a safety meeting to an ICE raid.
Yeah.
And I sure wish people wouldn't do that.
Right.
And to highlight on that, about 2 weeks ago, we had a sensor at Tybee High School go off and set off the fire alarms twice that day. Just a bad sensor had to be replaced. But example of that is social media. Somebody driving by said, I hope all the students and staff are safe. With what's happening over there, it looks very dangerous. And we're having to respond to that when it's just a sensor. So I know anytime our law enforcement agencies are on campus, which is often, we have SROs in our schools. We have partnership meetings with them because our goal, first and foremost, is to evaluate scenarios to keep our students and staff safe. And unfortunately, rumors spread quickly on social media.
Okay, so how are we communicating this to the Hispanic community? There's probably a number of parents who probably don't speak English and might need to be assured of this. We were talking about this earlier, but is there a way to talk about this with the parents?
There is. We're planning on putting out a joint statement today, all the schools, and we'll also do it in Spanish.
Okay.
I think those are the families that are probably the most worried.
Yeah.
And I understand, it's a scary time. I get it.
Yeah.
I was actually getting coffee this morning, and the lady in the convenience store said that normally there's 50 to 100 people come in, workers.
Yeah.
To get coffee and snacks and that kind of thing, and they had zero.
Wow.
Today. So people are scared, and I don't pretend to know what's going on nationally. I'm not a politician, but I do know that our schools are safe.
Right.
Our kids are safe, and it's a pretty normal environment at least right now.
Right.
And to speak on that, it's not just our schools that are safe and great. Just to highlight the state of Texas, the graduation rate from Texas public high schools is at 91%.
Yeah.
It's the fifth highest nationally. Obviously, it's a lot higher here in Kerr County with our schools, but we just want to reassure all our parents that our schools are doing great things and they're safe places for our students, and we're going to be there for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a pleasure to walk on the campuses here in Kerr County. I mean, I enjoy it. So I don't, I get the fear and I understand it, but too, and I think it's our responsibility to make sure that the right information is getting out. I mean, if it happens, we're going to report on it. But I mean, the baseless stuff is really difficult to kind of wrap your head around. So, and this is hard as well. Just to have you two here, a blizzard of stuff coming out with the legislature right now. Were you guys both in Austin over the week?
We were. You
guys were both there. So vouchers, school choice. Yesterday there was executive orders on DEI. Did you even have time to process everything that happened in the last 48 hours?
That question comes up a lot. There's going to be a lot of opinions that will be coming out. Everybody's got a statement, but right now really nothing is finalized, and we are not putting out, at least our school, we're not going to say much until we get guidance from the state and our attorney. We know exactly what's going on, because I don't want to be a part of exactly what we're talking about and spreading rumors and telling things that aren't going on. But the landscape is changing. Schools, the world of schools is going to be more competitive one way or the other. It's going to be a unique environment, I would say. But one thing that is not unique, and that is our teachers' dedication to making sure kids are safe and taken care of and well educated.
Right. What do you say about that, Dr. Ringo?
Same response. I know we work closely with Dalton Rice, our city manager, as far as legislative agenda.
Yeah.
And I think roughly there's been, is it 4,600 bills?
I think 4,600 bills right
filed.
Yeah.
600 plus around education. And most of those bills do not see the light of day. And so similar to that, we monitor them. We do give input to our state reps and work closely with them. But because there's so much out there, most of it will not even advance. So we don't give too much comments on it until we know what's proceeding, so we can talk clearly and understand it better.
Yeah, it's too early in the session for any bill. Education, city, finance, infrastructure, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of duplicates. What we're going to start seeing is the school vouchers are going to lead the charge on what gets passed and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I think that's what this session has really been built about, has been education. And so anything that does pass, kind of beyond that is going to be, I think, geared towards school vouchers.
All right.
And just to highlight, people ask what are vouchers, and just to spread what that is under bills that have been proposed. That just means it could go to pay for any type of school, whether that be Baptist, Muslim, Catholic, Jewish. Somebody open a school, it seems that's what it would go to pay for. Right. Whereas the tax dollars for public schools, we know what that goes to and how those dollars are accounted for.
Right. The first one is from the Senate, and it's $10,000 per kid, $11,500 if the child has special needs in some cases, and there's that got through, I think, one committee yesterday in the Senate. It's usually where it's running into trouble is in the House, and so. We'll see how that works out as well. And let me just say this, guys: 4,600 bills. A lot of those are like one paragraph or like a change, a typo. I think they should. I think they should have like a different category. Like, okay, administrative bills, like your typos and your paragraphs. Because I look at some of those sometimes. It's like, what did they change here? Oh, they like one red line in this, and it's a bill. I mean, that doesn't count.
I think they should put a cap on the number of bills filed. I mean,
yeah,
fine. If you want to go file stuff on chemtrails and whatever, do it. But you're limited on the number of bills that you can file. Each session.
Right. You get to file one thing. So, I want to file a bill to bring a shot clock in for boys and girls basketball. That's my bill. Come on.
Well, it is a legislative year.
Can we get that done?
I would probably second that.